And now we're down to the last number one song of 1974. So this was the week of beginning or ending. I'm not sure which. It's December 28th. And I think Bliss and I could probably talk. We could probably talk for 30 minutes about this one song.
Well, no, there will be an episode later devoted to songs of this sort, which were also peculiar to the 70s.
Disturbia.
Psycho in pop songs.
Okay. Anyway, we're talking about Angie Baby by Helen Reddy.
Written by Alan O'Day.
Alan O'Day, who gave us Undercover Angel a couple of years later, in 77, I think.
76? Well,
no, I believe it was 77. It was that dreadful year.
Okay.
See, it's burned in my brain forever.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So,
give them the plot. Just
the
give
plot.
Them the basic plot.
I don't know what to say about it. Well, Helen Reddy has a strange place, I think, in the 70s, and I'm totally bullshitting here, and speculating, but thinking that she might, she had the big hit. Her first hit was, I think, Delta Dawn, and big hit. And
I Am Woman.
I Am Woman is what I'm getting to. The feminist anthem, I Am Woman. This was if there was a national anthem of the feminist movement.
Just 2 years later.
2 years later, Angie Baby.
You have a psychotic woman listening to her radio.
Yeah.
And she wants a boyfriend. And she lures the boyfriend to the house. And he comes into the bedroom and she plays the radio really, really loud so that he's disoriented. And then she turns the volume down and sucks him into the radio. And
we're not even sure that there was a real boyfriend.
Well,
this might have been a Janician thing, inventing lovers on the phone.
No,
kind of thing,
Well, no, I'm positive it's a Twilight Zone episode.
You get that intrigue built in the song. The headlines read that a boy disappeared and everyone thinks he died, except a crazy girl with a secret lover who keeps her satisfied.
So the boy is gone, and as far as we know, the girl has him captivate in her radio, and she can it's like Imaginary Lover by Atlanta Rhythm Section.
Yeah, very good.
Anytime she needs satisfaction guaranteed, she just turns on her radio. And so there's the Twilight Zone, there's the idolization of the radio, which was another popular theme.
Yeah.
The Raspberries, Overnight Sensation, dozens of other songs.
The radio as solace.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah,
we can relate.
We can. Sadly.
We had no lives.
And to be honest, we don't think anybody takes solace in the radio anymore. We think the radio for most people
take solace in their iPads.
It's wallpaper. It's background. It's
solace from Sirius.
We're going to try to limit the amount of ragging on the current generation. We're all farts. There's no two ways about it. But, it has all these weird elements that just would never have popped up in a song, and certainly not in an artist who wanted to be taken seriously as a female interpretive artist.
Yeah, and a general comment about the song, it was creepy.
Mm-hmm.
It just was.
Yeah.
Whatever, even if you couldn't make sense of the song, it was like, something's going on here.
Well,
it's like the night the lights went out in Georgia. Yeah. Something bad happened.
Well, but even Hotel California, which is the single most overplayed song in the history of mankind, that's why it works. It's not just the music. Mm-hmm. It's the creepy Twilight Zone plot.
It sounds sinister. There's something sinister going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
there's 74 wrapping it up, and all right, 1975. He had hits. He'd had big hits, but I'd say 75. Some artists dominate years. The Bee Gees definitely dominated the set when Saturday Night Fever was on the charts. It was the year of the Bee Gees.
Right.
75 had to be Elton John's year.
Right.
I mean, news of Elton John, whatever Elton John, if Elton John went to the toilet, everybody wanted to know about it. Could do no wrong.
Chart-wise.
Captain Fantastic, which came a few months later. But anyway, beginning, the first number one song, and this is significant about Elton John and chart-wise, because this song was number one for 2 weeks, and we will not see a song stay number one for more than a week for a record then and still stands today. I think it's 3 months later. And that record hasn't even come close to being touched since then. It's like DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak. There's the first sports reference of the series. No one's even come close to touching it. This record either.
Move them in, move them out.
Move them in, move them out. So this number one song, we're talking about Elton John's Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. The Beatles cover, he repaid John Lennon's favor. You sing on my song, I'll sing on your song. Lennon sang back up on this song. 75, I wasn't into the Beatles yet. I thought it was kind of a strange song for me.
I loved it.
He loved it.
I thought it was awesome.
His instincts were always good.
Better
than mine.
I still think it's awesome. A lot of people thought it was a throwaway, but I thought it rocked really hard, and it sounds better. It doesn't sound better than the mono version that the Beatles did of Lucy in the Sky, but I really think that you listen back to the stereo version, it's very thin. And Elton, when he was trying to rock out, he always wanted respect as a rocker, and he deserved some of it. It's hard to get that respect with a piano unless you're Jerry Lee Lewis. But
Lennon, was asked about voices in some Rolling Stone interview in the 70s earlier, had complimented Elton as far as something along the lines of the first original English voice he'd heard in quite a while. And so there was an affinity from the beginning between the two.
Yeah.
And, I just thought of something else about that particular cover of Elton's of the Beatles. Is we mentioned I Shot the Sheriff earlier in this segment. The reggae, introduction of reggae. There's a little reggae segment in Lucy in the Sky, which is kind of a weird little change of pace in the song. So after 2 weeks of Elton and John singing back up with him, here we go with these number one songs. And I will bet that most of our audience, our two people audience out there, is gonna think most of the rest of these songs are pretty freaking lame. But we're going to let him rip. This was Elton John's year. He dominated. He ruled the year. And this next number one song for 1 week was the first hit for, give him credit, he did become kind of an icon for a certain segment out there. And this was his first big hit, his first breakthrough. We're talking about Barry Manilow's Mandy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, what shall we say?
I know. It's really hard to assess Barry Manilow accurately.
And what was the original title of the song going to be? Remember?
You know this.
Yes, I know that. It was going to be Brandy. But he couldn't use that because it had been done before
Brandy,
by Elliot in Looking Glass. Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be.
Right.
Stop. Okay. But so he changed it to Mandy.
I liked the song at the time. In fact, it was several years. It was. I'm almost positive a couple of years later, I got Barry Manilow's Greatest Hits as a Christmas present one year, and now I find it almost impossible to listen to anything the man recorded.
It's a great mom album, right?
It's a great mom album. I would buy a best of for Mom in a second, but I just there's sweet saccharine crap that I can take, but there's some stuff that just is too much, and that most of his stuff crosses the line, except the one where he stole the little classical piece and Could It Be Magic?
Could It Be Magic?
And it wasn't a number one.
Yeah.
It was weirdly dramatic and all of that, but he figured out his formula really quick. He only deviated from it once to do the disco song, the Copacabana, which
you start naming Barry Manilow songs, and I'm sorry, it's hard not for me to laugh.
It's in the music. It's in the music.
You told me to put a limit on the singing lyrics, and I won't. But I'm trying not to sing the lyrics to Daybreak.
Try to sing "Can't Smile Without You" without smirking. Without smirking. Okay. It's a bad song.
But doesn't it make you want to do this along to the song?
Yes, it does. Yes, but see, they killed it. They should have killed it finally in Hellboy too. Hellboy and the other guy are getting drunk and singing the song. That really should be the end of that song. There's a quality of schmaltz.
Schmaltz.
That just
New York schmaltz.
Or
Big Apple schmaltz.
Well, or
Bette Midler bathhouse schmaltz.
Well, or I write the songs
that make the.
Wait, no. That he didn't write the song.
No, he's music. People thought he was being an egomaniac. No, he's personifying music, and he says it in the song. Hey, dummies, I am music, and he doesn't think he's really music.
Right.
He's saying, what if I were music? If music could talk, it would say this.
And that's pretty much why the Sex Pistols had to happen.
Yes.
Okay. Next.
Hey, my, Into the Black. And good Lord, we got some relief from Mandy with Please Mr. Postman by the Carpenters, a cover of a very good Motown song, which I like the Motown song a whole lot better. Listen, I like the Carpenters.
I know.
I do.
You had a best of at the time.
I had a best of, and I will still stand by some of their songs.
Yeah. Well, they had...
What a voice. Karen Carpenter. Oh, my gosh.
I know. It was beautiful.
Nice. Anne Murray, Karen Carpenter are in that...
Yeah, that contralto thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but the real pathos, and of course now, from our modern perspective, we know how hideously tragic her life was.
Why didn't the Bangles cover a Carpenter song? It was L.A.
It would have worked.
I wish the Bangles had covered Dedicated to the One I Love.
Sonic Youth did Superstar.
They did?
Really
That's
wonderful.
A good one to cover.
Yeah.
It's a real good one.
Yeah.
Superstar. It had a Superstar sort of fit with the Angie Baby thing, too.
Yeah.
See? That stuff was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, how did I get off on Policeman? What's there to say?
No, there's not
it's
much
just
to say.
It's a Marshmallow Sunday cover of Please Mr. Postman.
They were either after or on their way to their summer TV replacement show, which we watched because what else was on TV, honestly? Donnie and Marie. I mean, so...
I'm glad don't worry that they don't have any number ones.
Even we pop fans at the time knew that Donnie and Marie were a bad act.
Yeah.
Next.
Oh, yes, please. Okay, next, we had Laughter in the Rain by Neil Sedaka. And Sedaka had a pretty damn big year this year, too. And it's Elton John related.
I'll be right back. I'm bringing the CD in here.
Okay. He's going to go get the CD. I don't know why. I don't know what he's up to. But it'll be something good, I promise. Neil Sedaka. Yeah. Sedaka's back. He's back. He was back then. He had songs on the charts as a solo artist and as a songwriter in the 50s, like Calendar Girl, Breaking Up Is Hard to Do, I think Oh Carol. There were and several others. I'd have to get out my darn Billboard book to look at all of them, but he had success in the 50s. And now there you go. Sedaka's back. Give him a good close-up with the fedora hat. It's a pimp hat. It's a pimp hat.
Yeah.
Hey, baby, I'm back. I'm Sedaka.
Well, and he had this. I owned this album at the time. This is probably I bought it after Elton John's first greatest hits, and before I bought ELO's Face the Music.
Preach it.
Which is, but it's that there's your pretty much that's a pop sensibility in that time. Okay,
Yeah.
I had not been rocked yet.
Yeah.
My world had not
been
rocked yet.
Hadn't been Wayne and Garth yet. Let's face it, Barry Manilow could have covered Laughter in the Rain.
He could have, but he wouldn't have. The arrangement wouldn't have been as subtle. It just wouldn't. It wouldn't have floated the same way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he had already had a couple albums out in Europe, and so this was a compilation of tracks from two of those albums. Interestingly, one of those albums, 10cc, was the backing band on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they became one of my early weirdo pop favorites.
Wow.
I'm
not
just
in
a
love.
short time
Blew
later.
our minds, didn't it?
Well, and but I liked all of their weird stuff. Mandy Fly Me is actually by far my favorite song.
Life is a Minestrone.
Yeah, Life is a Minestrone. What a Rococo goofball piece of
I
stuff.
think even my parents dug The Things We Do for Love.
Well,
It sort of got that Barry Manilow bounce to it.
well, it does, but it's.
We'll get off the Manilow thing soon.
Yeah,
don't worry.
yeah.
But anyway, here's one of those big change of paces here, which is what you love about Top 40, in the 70s. So, well, you want to introduce this one?
Okay, I can do this. Some of the stuff that had hit the top of the charts was relatively funky. Sorry, I put my back out earlier moving crap around.
It's the dreaded middle age.
Done got old.
All
right. So
flash our gang signs here.
Okay.
For oldness.
Now there had been funky songs to make #1 on the charts before. All right. But nothing, I don't think, at least especially to us at that time period, had been as lewd and lascivious. You got to remember this band's previous hit, Skin Tight, was not, I don't even know if it made the top 10, but it was a biggish hit, but it didn't go all the way in, the way you walk, the way you talk.
Lascivious is a Jimmy Swaggart word. Okay, but
well,
it's all right.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's exactly the effect that it wanted to have.
Yeah.
This is the Ohio Players, Fire, and even the Chef Ramsay using it for a theme for one of his TV shows cannot ruin the hypersexual glory of this particular song. And I, who was creeped out by the sexual associations in other songs, I thought this was an awesome song. And the only way I can get a handle on why it broke through to me at the time is because it rocked. It seriously freaking rocked, and it was serious funk at the same time.
Anytime you start talking about funk, it's hard for me to sit still. I want to bust the fuck loose.
Well, and
because I'm thinking about that song. How do you just? It's like,
get
out your chair and shake your ass, man. Come on.
The way you squeeze,
Ow!
tease, it knocks me to my knees.
You're dynamite, baby.
There just was nothing.
You're gonna get your wish.
You're gonna get your wish.
Woo! I'm sorry.
There was nothing like
God.
it. Nothing like it.
We saw them live do this song.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, but sort of in the decline years in 1979.
Sugarfoot's dead.
Yes, he is. Yes,
God rest his soul.
And those guys, but they just ripped it up.
He was the lead singer, by the way.
And the weird thing is that they as a band, they funk bands usually, there were 2 exceptions to this that we're sure of, had a hard time switching off to the slow stuff, right? The ballads were usually the weakest thing. You buy a Gap Band album, and the ballads are going to be by far the weakest thing on the album.
Oh, yeah.
They could get off cool ballads, okay? I Want to Be Free, Sweet Sticky Thing.
Oh.
It's just, they could do, they were totally versatile. They were totally surreal.
Would you please tell the story about the album cover switcheroo that you did on the Ohio Players' Greatest Hits? The cover, the cover of it, you knew you couldn't bring it into the house.
Oh, because all of their covers had the naked woman doing something, and so she's flying in with the golden platter of greatest hits.
She's got a white gown on, as I recall.
Yeah, I think so.
She was
I could dig it
smooth
out,
and fine looking.
I'm not
too.
gonna. But anyway.
God.
I had to cover that up. It's the same. It's the same reason that I couldn't have Mom go out and buy the Stones' Sticky Fingers. So I settled for Exile on Main Street.
Honey, this album's got a zipper on the cover.
Yeah, this is years later, but I had to request Exile because it was at least hard to figure out as opposed to Andy Warhol and the giant wang.
So what? How did it work? What are the logistics of this?
No, you just had to hide it inside of a sleeve of something else.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
But it did get in there. I do not think I own the vinyl anymore.
Yeah.
Total classic.
Classic.
Just
great funk song.
Bomb ass awesome.
Tough Cat Productions Incorporated.